America could be headed for an epic rematch. The 2024 presidential election is taking shape as President Biden prepares to announce his re-election campaign. The video announcement is expected to be released tomorrow. This as a new NBC News poll shows that 70% of Americans would prefer that Biden not run.
And joining us now to discuss the 2024 election is Susanna Chad with North Central College. Susanna, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so let me first off start by asking you, do you think we will indeed see a rematch of 2016?
Well, for 2020, right? Yeah, I think it's very interesting to see now that President Biden has finally, the wait is over, this back and forth is over, that he's going to announce, then it dissuades other Democratic candidates from stepping forward because a contested primary with a sitting president does not bode well in the general election. You know, I think it's too soon on the Republican side to say for sure. Polls are very early. No one else is really announced. And so right now, if we look at the polls, it looks like we'd see a rematch, but there is a lot that can happen between now and November of 2024.
And of course, we meant 2020. I feel like we've just been inundated with elections here in Chicago. We've got the mayoral, election and all that. Okay, so recent polls show the majority of Americans don't want either candidate to run again. So how do you think we got to this place?
Isn't that been the question since 2016, quite honestly, right? How did we get to this place? And so there's one thing we know for sure. All the research is very clear that the thing that drives voters in presidential elections in this era of negative partisanship and polarization is electability, right? We don't trust other people to vote for the candidate we might like best if there are things about them that are not as electable. So we vote for what we consider to be the safe choice, which typically tends to be experienced older white men. This is how we got President Biden, part of how we got him in 2020. And I think we're in the same spot where the stakes feel higher and higher every election. We feel more and more negative to the other side every election. And so these men have run against each other before, both have served as president before. We end up right back where we started.
Yep. Okay. Well, let me ask you this about the timing on this announcement. We're expecting this video announcement to come tomorrow. Biden's alluded to the fact that he's probably going to announce, but he's just now doing it now. What do you make of the timing on the president's announcement?
It's interesting. So we may or may not know, the viewers might know that President Biden is incredibly superstitious, and he announced 4 years ago tomorrow and feels like he had good luck winning in 2020. And so that's part of the motivation. But specifically, every day that the president waits to announce re-election is one day less of official fundraising. And knowing this is going to be an uphill battle, particularly because Democrats are not that enthused about him running again, they need to immediately put the infrastructure that's behind the scenes in place, put it out in the front, and start raising that money.
Okay, last question here. Which other candidates, in your opinion, could also make strong runs for the nominations? As you mentioned, I don't know, there may have been one Democrat that's been announced, several Republicans so far, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, when a sitting president is running for re-election, which is, of course, typically the case, you're not going to see a contested primary. And so if there was discussion, particularly in the Democratic elites, for running someone in the Democratic primary, I think that those discussions are over. And so it is going to be President Biden as that nominee. Governor Ron DeSantis has not announced yet, although we are expecting that to be the case. And polls show that it's very close between him and President Trump. So I think as soon as Governor DeSantis announces his candidacy, that we are off and running on a very contentious Republican primary.
We will be following along. Susanna Chad with North Central College, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.